Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's our Wednesday Care 11 Spectacular. Julia Daniels joins from Care 11 today. Reggie Wilson out preparing for the arrival of his first child. Pretty exciting stuff. And we've got Ron Johnson. He's at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. He's surrounded by the dignitaries and the stars and the big swingers. Ron, let's get a little tour of the Vikings golf tournament.
Yeah, out here at Mystic Lake, we were just talking earlier with Randall McDaniel while Julia was getting ready. We also got Robert Tate over here, former Vikings cornerback. He's trying to work on his long putt. It's not really working for him, though. Not working, Rob.
I saw him make one earlier.
Wow,
though.
He made one earlier. Blast.
You got over here by that skull sign, and in a minute, they'll all line up. They requested all the players to line up, so you have like Rufus Best, Rashid Hageman's here, Randall McDaniel, John Randall, Steve Jordan. I didn't even see the list. Robert, what's his name? Mark Mullaney. And then, of course, they have the tribute out for their former teammate, Jim Marshall, that just passed away. So A lot of the guys out here, you can see him talking about that and his impact on not just them, but the community, the team. But yeah, and this is good stuff. They gave us some shoes. We got free shoes. We got Oakley's. Not these. I got some white ones. I already have black ones. So I'm like, let me get some white ones. My daughter's softball uniform is white on Sundays. So I'm like, let me get some flashy sunglasses to match that. But yeah, it's good. Here comes the cart girl.
Ron will be checking in from the Vikings golf tournament throughout the show. He'll be with us. We might see him play some golf. We might see some other people play some golf. We'll get some analysis from Ron. Of course, talk a little Jim Marshall. J.J. McCarthy compared to Josh Allen. We'll discuss that comparison. And Justin Jefferson spoke at OTAs yesterday. So it's an eclectic, star-powered, jam-packed show. Again, it's Julia Daniels, Care 11, Ron Johnson of The Ron Johnson Show. He had Theo Jackson on yesterday. Go and check that out. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. Find the audio of this show in the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. Of course, we're live right now on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Please subscribe. Get us to 10,000 subscribers. Julia, Vikings OTAs, I think they're probably at the golf tournament right now. They're probably not really in session at the moment, but they've been practicing this week, and players have been speaking. Harrison Phillips took the podium yesterday, former Buffalo Bill, of course, and he tossed a lofty comparison J.J. McCarthy's way, more so from a leadership perspective, but he said, yeah, J.J. McCarthy reminds me a lot of what I saw from Josh Allen when I was with the Buffalo Bills. Is that putting a little too much on the kid? Like, what do you think about that comparison between Josh Allen and J.J. McCarthy? You've got probably a top 3 quarterback in the league in Josh Allen and J.J. McCarthy over here trying to get there someday. What do you think about that comp?
I don't think it's too much pressure. I mean, I think it has a little bit to do with Josh Allen as a person as well, and just the goofy personality that he has. I know that they take full advantage of it with the Bills social team all the time. If you watch him in any interview, I could see the comparison that has been drawn between the two in terms of leadership style, because JJ McCarthy's kind of this like goofy, fun-loving kind of guy who's like everyone's bro, and Josh Allen's kind of the same way. You bring anybody into his locker room, it feels like he's going to get along with them. He's going to make an effort to get to know them and have them be a part of the team and kind of prove his worth as a leader. So I could understand the comparison between the two of them for sure.
Yeah, Ron, I mean, physically speaking, is there any comparison between J.J. McCarthy and Josh Allen? Josh Allen's like linebacker size, man.
Yeah.
Like maybe arm strength. I know that J.J. McCarthy's arm strength has been highly touted, but do you think there's any likeness to their games?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. You think about the ability to run, the ability to create the secondary play. I think that's what some people are looking at. Like athletic quarterbacks at that height don't come often. And so if J.J. McCarthy can kind of understand what Josh Allen does. Josh Allen creates a secondary pocket most of the time. Every time he's under pressure, he's creating another pocket. He's not trying to run all the time, but when it's time to run, he runs. So I can see the comparison there. He's an athletic kid. We saw him at Michigan run the ball. And the biggest thing is I think he has the ability to marry Haley Steinfeld. I think that's the other thing. Like J.J. McCarthy, if he wanted to, he could have married Haley Steinfeld, but he picked a different bride. So shout out to him for that one. But yeah, no, as far as comparison-wise, Josh Allen, yeah, I mean, you look at one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. You look at his fit. He looks bigger, I think I would say, than J.J. McCarthy too. Like he's bigger. His physical presence seems bigger. His just his aura as the kids would say, it's plus 10,000. It's a little bit higher right now than J.J. McCarthy's. But J.J. McCarthy has Justin Jefferson. He has Jordan Addison. He has T.J. Hawkinson. And that's one thing that Josh Allen doesn't have is that type of weaponry. His guys, he has Stephon Diggs at one point. He has the kid out of Michigan State that went to Florida State and Keon Coleman. But they haven't proven themselves yet. So I think J.J. McCarthy, you look at his weapons. Yeah, I could see that, but also in this game, in the media game, that's what people do. They just try to come up with comparisons. They try to come up with stuff. I would probably say he's more he's like a mix between like Brock Purdy with, I can't think of somebody else that maybe runs a little bit more. Like I feel like that would be more of a J.J. McCarthy comparison. It's like two quarterbacks had a baby is J.J. McCarthy maybe. But the Josh Allen thing, I mean, hey, that's big shoes to fill. If I was him, I would not try to fill them though. Like, don't try to be Josh Allen. Be your own guy. Because what Josh Allen gives you is the tush push and the ability to reach over the line. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be J.J. McCarthy's game. Like, I don't think he's going to be a tush push quarterback. He's not that big. Whereas Josh Allen's, I think, pushing 240-ish. So it's just a different type of quarterback.
Yeah, Josh Allen punishes defensive players. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy is going to be punishing defensive players with his running style. What I do like about Josh Allen, though, that I think that J.J. McCarthy could – in theory, integrate into his game. Josh Allen uses every inch of the field. Josh Allen will roll out and roll out and roll out, and he will get to the sideline, and his entire body will be leaning over the sideline, and he is still looking to make a throw. Uses every inch of grass before he can run. He does run very well, but he still is trying to find every opportunity to make that throw downfield. And when you have Jordan Addison, you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got T.J. Hawkinson. I think that you need to have that mindset that I'm not going to give up on my receivers. I want to give them every chance to make a catch, and I'm going to keep the play alive as long as I can. Now, looking at the trajectory of Josh Allen didn't become superhero Josh Allen until about year 3. He started out 10 touchdowns, 12 picks, 58 or 53% completion percentage. The guy was one of the most inaccurate, like Anthony Richardson level accuracy as a rookie. Then he improved that a little bit up to 59%, 20 TDs, 9 interceptions. And then the third year is when he became Superman Josh Allen, 69.2% completion percentage, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, 8 rushing touchdowns. Do you feel like, Ron, that there's a development that we're going to have to see for the first 2 to 3 years before we get the J.J. McCarthy that is at his peak of his powers?
Yes and no. So here's the thing. Like, Kevin O'Connell, I will preach this all day long. He got the best out of Josh Dobbs on a short turnaround time to get him to understand that playbook. He got the best out of Sam Darnold on one offseason, whereas no other quarterback coach, no other OC, no other head coach could get Sam Darnold to play the way he just played, which Sam Darnold owes Kevin O'Connell $10 million. Like, if you're going to pay a marketing team 15%, 10% to go out there and market you and get you more money off the field, get you NIL dollars, Kevin O'Connell got Sam Darnold every NIL dollar he could possibly think of. I mean, this guy is about to hit Microsoft commercials. He's about to hit all kinds of different metrics out there in Seattle when you think about and people are like, why Microsoft? Because Seattle's owner is with Microsoft. So, but when you think about all the things that Sam Darnold could do, $100 million contract was not on our radar for Sam Darnold. Like, it was, it wasn't there. And Kevin O'Connell made this guy a valuable asset, even with the last 2 games. And this is why I keep bringing this up. Kevin O'Connell knows how to call plays. He knows how to get quarterbacks to do what they need to do. So I honestly think he's been a full year already. This is not like a rookie out of college. This is a guy that sat in a room for a full year, learned from guys like Harrison Phillips. Like Harrison Phillips told that story on Vikings.com. J.J. McCarthy, right after he got hurt, right after surgery, he was in there like, hey, man, what is the defensive line doing when they do this? What is the linebackers doing when they do this? What is the cornerbacks doing? He's trying to understand the game from an NFL holistic perspective. I would say he should have the same season Sam Darnold had, if not better. Like, I don't see why not. If he doesn't, then he's not what we thought he was, because Sam Darnold did everything he possibly could do with his talent level, and I think J.J. McCarthy is right with him. Yeah,
Julia, back on the kind of the personality stuff with J.J. compared to Josh Allen. Like, Josh Allen, pretty gregarious, a lot of off-the-field work, really controls that franchise, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been enjoying playoff success every year. They've got a new stadium, and he's a big part of that. He's a big part of why Buffalo is now one of the most successful franchises in the league. I think we saw with Kirk Cousins that leadership wasn't natural necessarily for him. It took him a long time to feel comfortable. Do you think it's a prerequisite that J.J. McCarthy really takes the bull by the horns and owns this thing from a leadership perspective for him to have the type of status that we want him to have?
Wait, Sam, it cut out for half of your question there.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone froze and everyone went black.
You wouldn't believe how eloquent I was either.
I know. It was going
the way
so well.
I strung that question together. Let me try to condense it. Is it a prerequisite that J.J. McCarthy morph into a Josh Allen type face of the franchise from a leadership perspective, with the vocal leadership, the on-field leadership, kind of like something that Kirk Cousins wasn't necessarily gifted at, like dragging people up and carrying them on his back? Is that part of being a franchise quarterback in today's NFL? Does J.J. McCarthy need to be that guy?
Yeah, I would say yes, because there's so much more to being an NFL quarterback nowadays than it is just what you do on the field. I mean, what you do on the field kind of lays the base for that. But then you have, like Ron was saying, you have your marketing teams, you have your social media teams. You want somebody that you can consistently put out there that's going to bring in clicks, views, new fans to your franchise, maybe bring back some fans that weren't so into the past few years. And it was something that Kirk never really did. I mean, everyone was kind of wishy-washy on Kirk because of the personality and also because of his play as well. But I think that J.J. McCarthy has the opportunity to move into a spot where, if we're talking about the Josh Allen comparison, if you just go look at the Bills' social media, he is the social media. They do all these quirky, funny things, but he's involved. I mean, and I would even go so far as to predict that he comes up with the ideas for some of the social media things that they do, because they're so ridiculous and funny. All during Christmas time, they're doing 12 days of Christmas with Josh Allen, and they're giving him they're giving him a knitting kit, to make little kittens, just stupid stuff like that. But it does get people more involved in your franchise. And at the end of the day, it's all about the money. And that brings in a ton of money for teams, especially when you have kids that maybe don't understand the game just yet, or even people that just don't watch football, but all of a sudden they're like, I kind of like this JJ McCarthy guy. So I think it's something that teams look for. I mean, this is why they go through these interview processes before they get drafted, so that they can see what guys' personalities are like, and this, that, and the other, and if they're likable too. And I think that he fits in well, especially with the demographic of Minnesota, because I think Minnesota loves a goofy, funny guy that's a little bit relatable because he's not so perfect all the time. And
well, I think you got it.
No,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think that Lester Bagley has the he's gonna. Hey Lester. I think that Lester Bagley is going to be very important for J.J. McCarthy. It's without Lester Bagley, I don't think J.J. McCarthy gets it done. I'm just saying.
The dignitaries are surrounding Ron. Ron's giving lip service. I love it. Ron's in the golf cart. He's at the Vikings golf tournament. We're talking McCarthy. We're talking Jefferson next. We've also got odes to Jim Marshall. We'll discuss his impact on the Vikings. That's all coming up on the Minnesota Football Party. We'll be back in a moment. And we are brought to you today by FanDuel Sportsbook. It's the official sportsbook partner of Locked On. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. The NBA Finals start tomorrow. The Stanley Cup Final starts tonight. Oilers and Panthers. Might be a better series in hockey than it will be in basketball. I think it's a gentleman's sweep for the Thunder. I would if I was trying to make a buck, I would predict the Thunder in 5 exactly and see if I can hit on that, get a little better value. On the hockey side, I'm taking the Panthers to repeat at plus money, plus 106 it was against the Oilers. Oilers slight favorites, looking for revenge from last year. But if you're a new customer, now's the time to get in at FanDuel. Make a $5 bet, win the $5 bet, and get $200 to sprinkle across the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final, and have some fun with it. It's same-game parlays. It's live player props. There's dozens of wagering options because it's the finals. Get in the action. Bet 5, win 200 at FanDuel. Make every moment more. All right, so you've got one burgeoning face of the franchise in J.J. McCarthy. You've got your existing face of the franchise in Justin Jefferson. Julia, even if J.J. McCarthy gets the marketing machine around him, if he becomes this personality and this gravitational force, do you think there's any world where he actually surpasses Justin Jefferson's impact as the so-called face of this franchise?
Were you asking me? It blacked out again.
Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. This is the type of morning it's been, folks.
I know.
I can hear everything though, Sam. So it might just be on Julia's end because I'm getting your whole question.
Okay, fair enough. And I'll let Ron go first. Then could Justin Jefferson ever be surpassed by J.J. McCarthy in like face of the franchise status?
That's tough. I mean, that's like saying Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss and any quarterback. I think Justin Jefferson has Randy Moss like, aura, Terrell Owens, Larry Fitzgerald, like he's one of the greats. And so, people can't say he's one of the Hall of Fame, but it's like you can't say he's not either. Like him and Jamar Chase have kind of proven, hey, we are the best young guns out here. And if we can do it for 5 to 6 more years, we're Hall of Famers. And I just saw a stat. What is Justin Jefferson has like 2,000 more yards than Jamar Chase and 100 more catches, but Jamar Chase has 6 more touchdowns than him. At the end of the day, like that's tough for J.J. McCarthy to catch up since 2020. Justin Jefferson got us out of COVID. Like there's so much to Justin Jefferson that you just really can't overcome. Now, if you win a Super Bowl as a quarterback, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think unless JJ McCarthy has something that's going to be comparable to the gritty. This dude is an international, like when he gets off the plane in Dublin and over in London and wherever he travels, everybody that plays Madden, everybody that watches football, they know who Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are because of the gritty. So, I mean, even Joe Burrow because of that LSU team. So, no, that's going to be tough for JJ McCarthy to pass him up. I mean, he would have to throw for 5,000 yards, like twice maybe, like to even consider it and lead the team to a Super Bowl with Justin Jefferson hurt. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Julia, though, it's a very marketable tandem, and they're already doing it. You talked about the social media game, and J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson courtside at the Wolves game, mic'd up, right? They're already creating the buddy cop dynamic, and it's J.J. to J.J. That's going to be the connection that we hear about now for the next 5 to 10 years with McCarthy throwing to Jefferson. So I think that the two of them together could become this dynamic duo of marketing mania. If you link them up the way it seems the Vikings want to.
Right. Yeah, but I also think that Justin Jefferson has, and I think he's kind of always been like this, but definitely in the past few years, he's really hammered down the effortlessly cool guy persona. While also being one of the nicest guys that you'll talk to in the Vikings locker room, which is such a great thing for us people that cover the Vikings. It's like such a cool experience that I think a lot of people don't get when they go into an NFL locker room and the star of the show is there. And it's what we've talked about before, too. I mean, Ron kind of mentioned this as well. It's like Justin Jefferson is more than just like this receiver, right? Like it's that what we talked about earlier, that's kind of the base of it. But he has fully embraced like the stardom role. And he is recognized at F1 races and at the Met Gala. And he's asked to walk in Paris Fashion Week and things like that. I mean, that's hard to follow up. Mm-hmm. No matter how well you play on the field, you still also have to be like cool enough and into fashion and like hitting all the marks too when it comes to these events. Like you can't go to these events and then like not be wearing the right outfit or acting the right way or like, there's just a lot that goes into how Justin Jefferson has presented himself. And I think a lot of it's on purpose, but I think it also, and this is not to say like that JJ McCarthy's not a nice guy. Every interaction we've had with him, he's been a great guy. But Justin Jefferson just has this aura, like Ron was saying about him, and it's something I think that receivers in particular do a good job of. Joe Burrow is kind of the one quarterback that I think of that kind of has like that wide receiver aura a little bit. Maybe it's just something with that LSU team. Who knows? But it's hard to follow up, the history that Justin Jefferson has made and then what he's done with it in terms of turning himself into this kind of global celebrity.
And this is probably better for J.J. McCarthy, honestly, at his age where he's at. Like, I don't think you want him to be that. I mean, you want him to be able to organically develop into something like that. Justin Jefferson, though, speaking yesterday at OTAs, I believe it was his first press conference of the offseason.
Yes.
Man, it is just so cool to see how little he's changed in 6 years. The way that he speaks about his teammates, the way that and kind of Anthony Edwards, very encouraging, but Anthony Edwards has said, I don't want to be the face of the league. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, I don't think he has to say that. He just, like you said, effortlessly does it. He does the things he needs to do. He comes across as yeah, I'm doing all this stuff, but it's not that big a deal. I'm at OTAs, right? I wouldn't miss this. I want to be with my teammates. Consummate great teammate, still juggling all of this, all of his fame, all of his fortune. But it's really encouraging to see where he's at and how bought in he is to J.J. McCarthy's development process. And I have no doubt that he's going to produce, whether it's Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins. He's produced, Ron, with every quarterback that's come across. Mr. Consistency. So I really have I saw his FanDuel line was 1,250 yards this year. That feels low. I mean, I have no qualms about Justin Jefferson producing with basically a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I don't understand how you could even think 1,250 is over under for him at this point in his career. And if I'm JJ McCarthy and I want to show the world I'm good and I want to get paid, Justin Jefferson is number one target. I know TJ Hawkinson's back fully healthy now. Jordan Addison's coming back. The dynamic of Jordan Addison, keeping him engaged in the game and in the season. And JJ McCarthy probably saw that from behind the scenes because he wasn't Sam Darnold. So he might have gotten or heard some of the quarrels or some of the hey, give me the ball. He might have saw Rolando Addison, Jordan Addison's dad, what he was tweeting about. So there's a little bit of that with a young guy too that could be swayed either direction. But if I'm young and I'm going to be swayed, I'm going to the Hall of Famer. I'm going to Justin Jefferson. I'm going to the guy that's going to make sure that I get paid. And that's, I think, the best thing for him.
Yeah. Ron, I know you're headed out to your first hole of the scramble. How many birdies today are you going to knock down? How many solo birdies?
So I'm coming off of a broken hand. And that's the first issue I think I have is my hand. I broke it a while back playing basketball. So I'm just recovering from that. So I'm a drive. I went to the tee. I drove a little bit. My 9-iron and my 8-iron are just too stiff. It hurts my wrist. My 56, I can chip and I can putt. So I would say with our team, 18 holes, I would say we at least have 10 birdies coming today.
Nice. I love the optimism. I want to see maybe one shot, maybe one Ron Johnson shot before this show is done. We'll see if we can make it happen. We'll talk a little bit about a fallen legend, Jim Marshall. Passes away at the age of 87. I'm sure Ron will hear a bunch of Jim Marshall stories today at the golf tournament. We'll talk about Jim, plus the Vikings offensive line, top 5 in the league. We get into that as well as we roll on Minnesota Football Party. A very short pause. News broke yesterday. Jim Marshall, age 87. Passes away, former Purple People Eater, Minnesota Vikings legend, NFL legend, for that matter. I really enjoyed all the tributes that came across social media yesterday, all the video content, the little vignettes that were posted. The Vikings put out about a 5-minute video about Jim Marshall, hearing Bud Grant talk about Jim Marshall. Let me give you the stats, the final stats for Jim Marshall. 20 seasons, 277 starts, an Iron Man, if there ever was one. Didn't miss a Minnesota Vikings game. Sack total, 130.5. 30 fumble recoveries. And he had one glorious interception back in 1969. Jim Marshall, gone at age 87. I mean, Ron, you've been around the alumni for years and years. You've talked to him. You've I don't know if you've had the chance to talk to Jim Marshall or if you met the guy, but I mean the stories that people tell about this man. I regret not being around for the Purple People Eater era, in large part because of, Page, Eller, Marshall. And all the accounts are Jim Marshall was sort of the engine of that group.
Yeah, so when you think about Jim Marshall, man, that's the big thing is his ability to just get the guys together. But, John Randall just told a story about him. Randall McDaniel just told a story about him. And I think that's the key is like the way these guys talk about the Purple People Leaders. One, these guys didn't get their just due because they never won a Super Bowl. When you go to 4 Super Bowls, you don't win. A lot of times you get thrown in that Buffalo Bills conversation. And then, look at Don Beebe and Jim Kelly and all those guys. Like they just, and Andre Reed, they just kind of fell, other than Bruce Smith. The rest of those guys fell by the wayside because they didn't win. But you talk about the Steelers, same thing. You got Ham, Lambert, all those guys, they won. And so you guys continue to talk about Mel Blount and some of these guys. So, champions will get honored for years. And I think the Purple People Leaders haven't gotten their just due. I think they should be up there with the 85 Bears. I think they should be up there with the 78, 79 Steelers. They were a terror. They were a terror. And it was a different era, too. You could punch guys, eye gouge guys. You could do, it was dirty. Like I was just talking to Mark Mulaney about that. Mark Mulaney, one of his teammates, and one of the other guys. And so, those guys all loved and respect them. But, yeah, they did a little moment of silence right before we got out here. John Randall, gave a nice tribute to him. Randall McDaniel talked about him. And so, yeah, it's tough when you and those guys are younger than him, but, they knew of him. They heard of him. They seen him. And it's just it's tough. But Mark Mulaney played with him. He was in that group of guys. And so, when you start to see your friends and your teammates pass away, I think it becomes a realization of life, too. You can see these guys really appreciating opportunities like the Vikings providing today for them to be out here golfing. I know Randall McDaniel's in front of us. So I told him, I was like, you better he's behind us. I told him, you better not hit to me because they've had that in the past where the alumni think it's funny to kind of brush past you, like if you guys are taking too long. So I told him, like, you better not hitting to us or I'm going to turn around and hit it back. But no, it's some fun stories with these guys. And, it's cool this is my 11th season. And so it's cool being around these guys, just hearing the stories, hearing the stuff that they used to do back in the day. I can't even say half the stuff, but just the stuff they used to do, like the LT stories with Lawrence Taylor, like those things are true. The Randall McDaniel stories. When we got some of them from one of the former linebackers talking about John Randall, like Googled somebody's wife and grandmother and then was talking to and made the guy quit because he talked about his wife so bad. That's the guys. That's what they do. So, yeah, I think I'm a tee off too. So maybe Julia can tell her story and talk about, that there. And then maybe I'll see if they can videotape me hitting this one.
Yeah. Go do your thing. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, Julia. You and I and Ron, for that matter, we weren't necessarily watching the Jim Marshall era or the Purple People Eaters era. Like you learn about it through the storytelling. The previous generation talking about that hallowed era. And just yesterday, I felt like I learned more about Jim Marshall, the man, just watching the tributes that poured in and the reverence with which people talk. And this feels a bit like Bud Grant passed away. The Vikings honored him all year. Was it last year or the year before? And I imagine this will be sort of the person that they honor this year. They'll probably have a patch on the helmet. They'll have tributes before the game. Like this will be a year-long celebration of his life.
Yeah, I think he kind of encapsulates because obviously I didn't grow up around here. I didn't grow up around the Vikings or anything like that. But when I think of like a Viking player, Jim Marshall's like top of the list, right? When it comes to just the grit of it all. Ron was talking about that and how aggressive this guy was, but especially when it comes to the Purple People Eaters. I was reading like Bud Grant, he only awarded a game ball to Jim Marshall after his very last game. And he had like a phenomenal game that day it's insane the stats that this guy was putting up, right? And he's a legend for good reason, but I just think he is such a staple when it comes to if you think about this franchise, like he's one of the top names that comes to mind when you think about it, right next to Bud Grant. And he was involved in all of those Super Bowls that happened. And like Ron was saying, it's kind of interesting how they never won the Super Bowl, but everybody remembers those 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, right? And he's, just as somebody kind of that was an outsider coming in to cover the Vikings, he was one that even though, like you're saying, we weren't in the same era or anything like that, he's one that obviously I knew about my whole life, just being a fan of the NFL. So he's not just like a legacy in terms of the team, but also just like anybody that's a fan of the game, has learned to appreciate what he did and what he stood for in terms of just like football itself.
Needs to be a posthumous Hall of Fame inductee. I think that's clear and snubbed in all the years leading up to this. Ron, we saw the swing. Where did it land?
So we're about to find out. It's a 334-yard par 4.
Going for the green.
It was down the middle. It kind of had a little bit of a spin to it. Let's see, did it stay up? There's a there. Oh. Okay, maybe there's one at the edge. This one is me. So I'm here. There's the green behind me. So I probably drove it probably 280. You got me.
Oh.
But I got outdriven though. He got me. I got a broken hand though. I'm just coming off of rehabbing. So, yeah,
that would have been 310 easy.
Smoked one. Because we're probably 40 yards from it. So that's about 260.
Something like that.
So, and what's your name, sir?
Joey.
So this is Joey. He's in my foursome today. Joey just smoked one. I mean, that's the pin right there. So Joey smoked it, people.
We saw the swing though, Ron. Very DeChambeau-esque with the.
Oh yeah, it's fast. It's aggressive.
Speed,
it's aggressive.
Yeah, the feet. Very very nice. When we return, I pose the final question of the show: is the Vikings' offensive line poised to be top 5 in the league? That's next after a very. We like to lean on PFF's rankings this time of year. They ranked Christian Darrisaw 7th among league tackles and Brian O'Neill 18th. So the Vikings with 2 in the top 20. They've bolstered, Julia, the interior of that offensive line. Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Donovan Jackson, wholesale changes. If that group performs the way it's expected to, is this a top 5 offensive line for the Vikings for the first time in, I don't know, ever? It has been a long time since we could say that.
Yeah, I mean, if they perform like they're supposed to, yeah. Now it's getting to that point and staying healthy that we're going to have to wait around and see, right? Because we won't probably have CD back for the start of the season, and some other guys are still working on getting healthy, if my memory is correct.
Fries. I think Fries is still, rehab.
So they're still a little bit up in the air. They just did use a first round pick on an offensive lineman. So that's a good sign at least. But I think it's going to be, keep popping in there. I think it's going to be a much better offensive line than I have ever covered with the Vikings in my 3 seasons with them so far. But I think it's yet to be seen if they'll be top 5 in the NFL. That is a tough one to follow up. So I think we're gonna have to see. I think it's gonna be until the Patriots get here that I'm gonna have a real idea of what this offensive line looks like.
Well, yeah,
so
we got
one on the green. We got one on the green.
All right, thanks for the update, Ron Johnson. He's 70 yards from the pin. Got a fountain in the background. Right-handed swinger. He is coming off a broken hand, gutting it out.
Wind is low.
Really leaning over the ball.
About 5 miles an hour southeast.
Ooh, that was bad. I did the same thing the other guy did. Same thing. Bad.
He said 10 birdies today. Please.
We got one on the green though, so it's a shotgun. So it's best ball.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Best ball. So we got one on the green.
Group birdie.
Yeah, group birdie.
Still.
So it's a group birdie. We're short one guy, so I'm going to see how my hand feels on this one.
Wait, is this Ron again?
Yeah.
Yes, me again.
Oh.
Better. Going towards the edge, though. All right. It's chippable from there, but it's
All right.
it's a little off, but it's chippable.
All right. We got.
How's my swing look, though? I don't know what my swing looks like.
I think the swing speed is really good. The swing speed is excellent.
So there's the driver, though, is DeChambeau, so I got that. Okay, it's a little aggressive.
Yeah.
A little hard. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Continue with the sports talk.
Ron, as you begin mulling over your putt, do you think the Vikings can have a top 5 offensive line?
Yeah. Again, so talking to, like I said, I got a chance to talk to, he's behind us, and he was right next to me, during the show, which is crazy. I had Randall McDaniel on one side, Lester Bagley on the other, and literally, like, everybody's asking me what I think about Donovan Jackson, too. And I think that's the missing piece to this. You think about, you get Will Fries, you get, what's the other guy's name? So you got Fries and Kelly. And then you already had Darisaw, and it's health. How healthy is Darisaw going to be? How healthy, Brian O'Neill. But now you add a guy like Donovan Jackson. And again, Randall McDaniel said, he's like, look, and he said it to us last drop. I mean, we're going to get him on the show in like a week or two. But he said offensive guard is one of the toughest positions to really like dial in and be ready to go, because the guard has so much to figure out. Like, who's the blitzer? Who's the Mike? And he said the other thing, too, he loved about this kid is that when he talked to him and his parents, it was I will play offensive tackle for you guys because it's about the team and it's not about me. And he said when he moved to offensive tackle, they actually struggled. And I think that's what people don't remember about Ohio State, is when they moved him to offensive tackle, they struggled. But now that he's back at his natural position at guard, even though he can play tackle, he's a guard. And I think that's going to help this team tremendously when you got Kelly, Fries, him, Darisaw, and O'Neill. I think they could be a top 5 offensive line. And then you bring back Darren Jones, who is a really good hole seeker. Like, he understands where the blocks are going to go. He understands how to read a tackle or read a guard's head movement, which a lot of running backs, when they're young, they put a piece of tape down the middle of their head, because what coaches want to do is see where their eyes are. If they have outside zone or they're going outside. If they have inside zone, they're looking inside, or are they searching somewhere else? Yes, I think they could be a top 5 offensive line.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think this is exactly what J.J. McCarthy needs. You look at every facet of this offense, and everything projects as a plus. I think at tight end, you've got one of the best in the league. Josh Oliver's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. You've got a great top 2 receiver tandem. Jalen Naylor's a very good number 3. Ty Felton's going to help with your depth. The offensive line is huge. Sam Darnold, really good last year. When forced to run for his life, looked very mortal. If J.J. McCarthy can settle into a clean pocket, that's going to change the ball game considerably for his development. I can't think of a better situation for a first-year quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't happen this way very often. Usually the young quarterbacks, they're surrounded by missing pieces, right? They're trying to take over a team that was picking top 10 in the draft. Vikings got very fortunate, right? And the way things worked out, the year Kirk Cousins got hurt, they fell in the draft order, ended up in the top 10 with a pretty good bones of a roster, which they've since improved. And here they are, J.J. McCarthy in a great spot. There's the putt Ron Johnson's scoping out for his team birdie as we prepare to put the wraps on our Minnesota football party this morning. No Reggie Wilson. We might get Reggie one more show before baby comes. It's unclear. You know what I've learned, Julia? You can't predict when children arrive.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I have heard that. I don't think we're going to know whether we see Reggie again. Hopefully that happens. Ron Johnson is on the Ron Johnson Show. Check out his interview with Theo Jackson yesterday.
And
very,
there's the
very
birdie.
good stuff.
That was the team birdie right there.
Team birdie. Beautiful.
Yo.
That was a good approach. So there's 1 out of 10. We'll find out on tomorrow's football party if they converted all 10. Julia can be seen on Care 11 probably more and more as Reggie Wilson hits his paternity leave as well. So check out Julia on Care 11. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota. This is the Minnesota Football Party. Find our audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. Ron Johnson, salute to you. Have fun at the golf tournament.
Appreciate it. Enjoy it. Theo Jackson, Viking safety. Make sure you guys check that one out for sure. The one thing is we're not going to tell it, but he does have a sack celebration. So make sure you guys check that one out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julia, and thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you next time.